This video is going over homework 28, Thursday. There are 5 questions today, and we're going to be focusing again on mean absolute deviation with questions 3, 4, and 5. So let's just take a quick look at what we're doing today. Number 1 on Thursday, what decimal is equivalent to 1.25%? And so remember when we're changing percents to decimals, we're going to move that decimal place 2 to the left. Number 2 says Francis surveyed 70 students about their favorite season. 18 chose fall. What would be a reasonable estimate for the number of students at SCMS, population 750, whose favorite season is fall? So we're taking a sample and then we're making a prediction. We're going to be using ratios here. And then questions 3, 4, and 5 are similar to yesterday's video about mean absolute deviation. We're going to calculate the mean shoe size. We're going to find out how far each deviates from the mean. And then we're going to calculate the mean absolute deviation. So let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1. What decimal is equivalent to 1.25%? And when we write this as 1.25%, and we're going to figure out what decimal form that is. Kind of like what I was saying before, you want to move it 2 to the left. And so your answer is going to be 0.0125. And you could put a 0 in front of that if you want to. So it would be 0.0125. Alright, and question number 2. Francis surveyed 70 students about their favorite season. 18 chose fall. What would be a reasonable estimate for the number of students at the SCMS, population 750, whose favorite season is fall? So if we look at the original, we've got 18 students out of 70, and we want to make a prediction or estimate out of 750. So we're making our proportion here, 18 out of 70, so how many out of 750? And remember, you can do this 2 ways. You can either look at it this way, where you see how many times 70 goes into 750, and then you would multiply 18 by that to get your answer. Or you can do it the cross multiplication way, where you there's a different color here, where you do 18 times 750 and then divide that by 70 and get your answer. And when you do that, either way you do that, you're going to get the same answer each time, or at least you should, and I got 193. So if 18 out of 70 chose fall as their favorite season, then a reasonable estimate would be 193 out of 750. Now, because it says estimate, you may have chosen 195, you might have chosen 200, and those would be reasonable estimates. 190 would be a reasonable estimate. All right, question number 3. We're going to calculate the mean shoe sizes. This time we have decimals. So when we're going to calculate, we're going to add up 8.5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 10.5 plus 11. 0.5. Add those all up. And when I added it up, I got 46.5 or 46.5. And you want to divide by how many there are there. And there are 5 shoe sizes. So we're going to divide that by 5. So 46.5 divided by 5. And the answer here is 9.3. Now, you could go about this different way. You could say the average shoe size is 9.3, but some of you may be thinking that's not real world, because you don't have shoe sizes of 9.3. So you may have chosen 9.5, Some of you may have even chosen 9. For me, I go ahead and chose 9.5 because the 9.3 is not a shoe size, but 9.5 is a shoe size, and 9.3 is closer to 9.5 than it is 9. So that's why I chose 9.5. Now, if you chose 9.3 or you chose 9, that is fine. Your mean absolute deviation and your deviations are going to be a little bit differently than mine, but they're not going to be that far off. So now let's look at, use the mean from above, and again, I chose 9.5, and how far does each deviate from the mean? So 8.5 to 9.5 is 1. 7 to 9.5 is 2.5. It's a little hard to write in there. 9 to 9.5 is 0.5. 10.5 to 9.5 is 1. And remember, it doesn't matter if it's higher or lower because it's absolute value, so it's the absolute deviation. So 11.5 to 9.5 is 2. And then for that last question, what's the mean absolute deviation? Remember, the mean absolute deviation is the average of all the deviations. So you're going to take these numbers that we just did, and we're going to find the mean of those. So we're going to add together 1 plus 2.5 plus half plus 1 plus 2. And so I got 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7, and I want to divide that 7 by 5 because there's 5 there. And 7 divided by 5 is 1.4. So my mean absolute deviation is 1.4. All right. You guys have a wonderful day.